first of all, recovery from matches and how important that's become, I suppose, because of how much more demanding maybe each game is now than it would have been a few years back. Is that something that a club like Leicester and the backroom staff that you work with take that much more seriously these days?
Oh yeah, it's something you have to buy into. It's definitely one of the things the players hate the most, because the last thing you want to do after a game, long gone are the hot baths, is get into a freezing cold ice bath, which is, set up for you, ready for when you come off the pitch. You've got your recovery shake, which is a concoction of all sorts to sort of re-energise the body, whether it's salt replacements and all that sort of stuff. Then it's just about eating the right things. Some people buck that trend. Martin Corrie has a bag of fish and chips after every home game. So, it's each to their own. You can't get too obsessed with it, because otherwise you go mental. Sometimes you've just got to find what works for you and stick with it. What works for other people works for them. You've got to find your own little niche and really nail it and say what works for you. If like going to the cinema night before a game and eating a bag of sweets that mentally calms you down and puts you in the right frame of mind, then so be it. Don't not do it just because someone says, well, you can't eat sweets, you're a professional athlete. But you've got to find those things. You've got to find the balance between dedicating yourself to your sport and making sure you're in the right frame of mind to play and still being relaxed and enjoying your life. But obviously the recovery process is highly important, because the energy and the damage that you do to your bodies is vast, and making sure that you're recovered properly for the following weekend is important.
And I guess the same thing goes as well for training, and that everyone's different, and that some people are going to need maybe to do more work in the gym and more weights, some people need to work on flexibility and some more on cardiovascular stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. And the fitness team I spoke about earlier, Alex Martin and the crew that he has, that we have here, I think we have 6 or 7 fitness staff that monitor us, which is amazing. You're almost training individually with one member of staff every time you go to the gym. So you get the maximum out of it. You get the one-to-one which you need to make sure you're performing. They know exactly what you need, like whether it's fitness, strength, whatever it is. If it's drills, if it's power, if it's speed, whatever it is, they know, because they're training you individually, so they can increase those little things. And you can't speak highly enough of the team here at Leicester, to be honest. They always get you back. They always get you back in better shape, or in the exact shape that you want to be. And it requires a lot of hard work on your part, but also a lot of dedication from them as well. And I think it's important always as a player to realise the areas that you're good at and that you're not good at, and work hard on both of them. Not just work hard on the areas that you're rubbish at, because then you'll sort of forget the other areas.
What was it like knowing that you played a part in the moment that ended up winning England a World Cup?
It's fantastic now. It's one of those things that you look back on and you think, that was great. You look back and you can say, okay, I was part of a World Cup winning side. I was lucky enough to play in it, and I enjoyed every single minute of it as well. So, but I think until I actually finished playing, I won't really appreciate the achievements that we had as an England side back then, because you live for now and you strive to do better every day. And for me, the next step is to get back playing for Leicester and possibly go on the Lions tour, possibly go on an England tour. All those things are ahead of me. There's the next World Cup, and going and winning another European title with Leicester. All these things are still to do, and that's the most important thing for me. Always looking forward. At the minute I can look back and say, okay, I had fun during the World Cup, and we had a great team. But until I finish playing, I think that's when I really sink in and say, oh look, I enjoyed my career, but I enjoyed it because I did everything physically possible, to achieve the goals that I wanted, and I was lucky enough to be involved with some great teams as well.
Obviously, that career is still going on, and you do still have ambitions. Is it difficult while you're still in the game to look at long-term ambitions, or do you target something like maybe the next World Cup and say, I want to be a part of that, or do you have to keep those ambitions reined in and on a sort of shorter timescale, if you like?
You have to manage them really, because as I'm in now, I'm injured. You can't say necessarily when I'm going to be back. I aim to be back for the 16th of April, but there's no guarantee that's going to happen. So you can't guarantee whether you're going to be picked or whatever. But I'd certainly like to play in another World Cup. I think I'll be 30. Where are we now? I'll be 32 when the next World Cup comes round. So I'll still be young enough, and as long as I'm playing well enough and my form's good and the coaches want to pick me, then fantastic. You always have to set yourself goals, but generally they work on a shorter basis. You know, you come to your club at pre-season, you say, right, this year I want to play this number of games. You know, fingers crossed I don't get injured, which generally seems to happen, but I want to play this number of games. I want to be involved in a final. I want to take Leicester to a final. We want to win that final. You have to have goals to a degree, and whether they're week-long goals, day-long goals, month-long goals, you know, longer goals, you have to have them, because you always need something to strive forward to, and something that's set in your mind that you know you want to achieve and that you're aiming to get to. But you know, when you stop having those targets is when you retire. It's when you wake up in the morning, I imagine, and you think, what the hell am I going to do now? I've got nothing to aim for. Then you find something else.
If you hadn't reached the level that you've reached in the sport, being able to be paid as a professional player, played for England and all the things you've achieved, if your level of ability had been that of a middling club player, do you think you'd still be playing club rugby now?
I would be, yeah. I love this sport. I absolutely love it. I have a passion for it, and I have done since I first picked up a ball when I was 5. And I've always thought, as a youngster going through my career, I've always thought it's going to be easy to finish and retire and move on and do something else. And it does excite me, the thought of having a new job prospect, but it's going to be a tough decision to make. You know, I love this sport, and it becomes ingrained in you. And you know, you sit at home, you watch the games when you're not fit, and all you want to do is be involved and be out there on the pitch. So yeah, I think my wife will probably tell me when time's up, but I'm still only 29, and you know, I'd like to get at least another 4 seasons in me. The most important thing is that you start, when you play like these guys are now, they're playing with their mates, they're playing with the lads that they're at school with, and the girls. You know, when I started, there was probably more girls playing than there was lads, and they're always bigger than us. But you enjoy it, and you come through with your mates, and you know, I've been at Leicester 13 seasons now, and I've been playing with my mates that whole time, and it's just a great feeling. You know, it's such a team sport. It unites you, and it gives you a common purpose. And when you win, and when you're at a place like we played Munster, and it was at Tormund Park, I think, and Munster had never lost a home game in the European Cup in their history. And this was the last game. It was the last game they were having before the stand was completely redeveloped. And you go there, they're complete underdogs, and you beat them in their own ground on the last game that they're having there, with all this razzmatazz around it. And you sit in the change rooms afterwards, and you look at the guys next to you, and you appreciate and that buzz that you have. You can't replicate it off the rugby pitch. You just can't. And those are the awesome things I think will always be in my mind. You know, those achievements that you have on a tough day when it's raining, when all the odds are against you, yet you came through as a team together, and you achieved all this together as a team, because this is the most important thing. You know, as an individual you can only do so much, but as an individual who's part of a team, you can create great things. I'd say go out there and enjoy it, but play as hard as you can. Play like it's going to be your last game of rugby, and you know, that's the way you should play every time. You can only give it your all every weekend, and if your all's not enough, then you know you've done what you can, all you can, in fact, to get picked or to win the game or whatever it is. And if you know you've given all you can, that's enough. If the team still didn't win, then the opposition were better, and it's as simple as that. If you're a 12-year-old, you know, speed, fitness, that's all that matters. If you're fitter and quicker than anyone at that level, then you're going to stand out. And those big guys, they're naturally bigger at that age anyway. You're going to develop, and weights, you know, you don't need to worry about weights until you're much older.